everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk in the southeast corner of Scotland. Of course, Scotland is literally the capital of literally everything. Literally. So I hope everybody is doing well. Excuse me. I have a little bit of phlegm and mucus, so I apologize for that. I hope everyone has had a great week. We got 13 people in the door so far, which is pretty cool. On Wednesday, we did a fantastic Songwriting Simplified show, and we had almost 30 people here. And in fact, I think we did peak at 30 people, which was pretty great for a Songwriting Simplified show. Granted, there were perhaps some extenuating circumstances for the influx of people to the show, namely that there was a pretty amazing, pretty serious announcement made by Presonus, which is pretty cool. It's very rare, in actual fact, that Presonus actually advertises that a new version of Studio One is coming in advance of its launch. That's very rare. That didn't even happen for version 3. It didn't happen for version 4. And there was only kind of a hint for version 5 about what was going to happen. Excuse me. And then with version 6, well, I think it was a little bit easier for the, the proverbial cat to escape from its bag, being that we had the membership scheme up and running, Persona Sphere as it was called back then. And so because that was in place, it was easy, because part of the conditions for being a part of that was that you would get a sneak peek of a new version of Studio One when it is launched. So it was much easier for the bag to get out of the bag to get out of the cat. No, other way around. The cat to get out of the bag. Because we gave a sneak peek 24 hours ahead of time. So, but that was kind of deliberate. That was intentional. But this announcement is definitely unusual, to say the least. Being that we are telling you that it is version 7 and that it is being launched on October 9th, which is my birthday. I mean, that's like a first. An absolute first in the 11 years that I've been using Studio One, that there has ever been a release of a major version of Studio One, a 0.0 version of Studio One that's happened on my birthday. That's like never happened before, but it is going to happen, and I am so ridiculously excited. I'm like a kid at Christmas, I'll tell you that much. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to my birthday. And so there will be a very special birthday show on October 9th, where not only will we be celebrating my birthday, but we'll also be celebrating the launch of Studio One 7. And we will take a deep dive into some of the new stuff that's going to be available in Studio One 7 and some of the changes that have been made and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed and make sure you have that notification bell selected as well so that you don't miss it, because it's going to be awesome. So it's going to be a double celebration. Celebration of my birthday, celebration of the launch of Studio One 7. It's going to be spectacular. Really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to being able to answer your questions on version 7 and take a deep dive and unveil some of the stuff in a little bit more detail than will have been done on the broadcast. So to accompany the broadcast and all of that, I will have a series of videos on Studio One 7. So you can expect that to go live just after launch as well. So once the launch is all complete and done, my video series will go live and you will be able to check out my overview. Plus, I will have some standalone videos to accompany the overview that will go into a little bit more detail on some of the features maybe not covered in the overview. And also, features that I want to go into a little bit more detail in, because I don't want my overview video to be incredibly long. because my last one was nearly an hour long, so I don't want that to happen. The one for Studio One 5 was like practically an hour long, because I went into almost everything in a lot of detail. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to pick out my favorite features, and I'm going to show you those in the overview video, and then there will be standalone videos that will go into a bit more detail on some of the other stuff as well. So I don't know how many videos they're going to be. You'll just have to wait and see, and that rhymed, which is good because it's, you know, I'm a songwriter, so it's good that I can rhyme. So yeah, so that's kind of what to expect on October 9th, and I wanted to get that out of the way up front. Now, I know that there has been, and Mark is asking me to discuss this, and I'm not really going to discuss it in great detail because it's a screenshot. That's all it is. It does show one or two things, but it doesn't show you everything. It hints at a few things. And so it's out there. If you've not seen it yet, you could probably Google it and do a Google image search and you will find it. There is also, I should warn everybody, that there is also a spurious download of apparently a version of Studio One 7. But I will tell you this, do not download that because it's not genuine. That whole thing is a scam. It's not a genuine version of Studio One at all, and it contains all sorts of very, very dodgy stuff that will make your computer take a shit. So don't download it. If you see it, because it is circulating on places like Reddit, do not touch that with a 25-foot barge pole because it will make your computer take a shit and it probably won't recover. So don't touch it, even if it's tempting, because it's not a genuine version of Studio One 7 because Studio One 7 has not been released yet. It's just some scammers basically scamming. And they're basically saying, hey, download this. It's a pre-release version of Studio One 7. And then you download it and it's full of malware and it destroys your computer. How do I know this? Because I have spoken to somebody who did that. And that's exactly what happened to them. So, yeah, don't. That's all I'm going to say. I can't go into any details about Studio One 7 features because it's not released yet and I'm under NDA. So not going to happen. So if you've got questions about Studio One 7 features, I'm not going to answer them. So I would say just don't even try. Okay? However, on October 9th, all will be revealed. There will be a proper launch video on the Personas YouTube channel. I don't know what time that's going to go live, but there will be announcements leading up to that for what time that's going to be. Make sure you watch it. And my video series will go live pretty much straight after that. And you can check out my video series then as well. And then, of course, in the evening at 6 p.m., we will be doing a very special show for my birthday and for the launch of Studio One 7. And I can't wait. I'm really excited. We got 24 people here, which is freaking bonkeroony. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I really appreciate you all. You guys are all absolutely awesome. I love you guys a lot. So, first in the door was Sean Aaron this time, which is great. And he beat Billy by, good grief, it looks like about 15 seconds. So, it's pretty close. And then about 3 minutes after that, we have Ron Figura. And we have Christina over in Denmark who says hello and good night because it will be very, very late for her. Because it's midnight for me, but it'll be 1 a.m. for her. And yeah, she is not necessarily a late night kind of person. And I totally get that. We got Stephen Wilson here. We got the W5 family. We got Chris from Rackner here. And Bill Shepherd. Good grief. Long time no see, Bill. But I'm glad you're here, bud. Welcome back to the channel. and you can see that you probably missed a lot. I'm in a new house now, and I don't know whether you were last on the stream when I moved into this house, but we bought this house, so this is my studio for the foreseeable future. So not going to change. So yeah, brand new house. Well, new-ish. We've been in it for 3 and a bit years now. But we got John Hawk here. We got Cal Traduziak here as well. We got Tony Stringer. And we got Mark. That's my good friend down in kind of the Birmingham kind of area. He goes by the name of Old School Funk and Soul. He's asking me to discuss that screenshot. And yes, I am sworn to secrecy. Not going to reveal anything. So as Carl says, nothing to see here. Move along. And we got Jonny Gaib here as well from Home Studio Trainer. We got Dwayne here as well. And who else do we have? We got Paul Morgan, who is not related to Billy. We got Don Oliver here. We got Danny Taylor. We got Keith from Radio Tuck Frumpet. And we got Papa Raptor Music. Awesome. Glad to have you here, mate. Welcome back, Lloyd. And we got Bobby Booth, so we can start the show now. And we got Gardner99. And Chris is saying, you finally got rid of that stupid heart in the chat. No, I haven't. They moved it. They moved it so it's not basically blocking the chat. It's still there. It's just kind of where you type into the chat. You've got the emoji button, and then next to that you got a plus button, then next to that is the heart button. I will demonstrate by tapping it. There you go. So it is still there. Please feel free to have lots of fun just clicking the shit out of that thing, because I think it's pretty fun. And who else we got? We got Rich Cresswell here as well. Awesome. And who else do we have? Jay is here, and Peter Brooks is here. Awesome, fantastic. We got a good number of people. We got 25 people in here. So if you have a Studio One question, not about Studio One 7, but about all versions up to and including Studio One 6. I will take those questions tonight, because that's what this show is all about. So, Rich says, if you click the ellipses, you can turn off the reactions heart. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm quite happy for that thing to still be there. So it's cool. If you guys want to use it, use it. It's great. I don't mind. So yeah, if you've got a Studio One 6 and older question for me tonight, please get that into the chat. Start your question as Rich has done and Dwayne has done with @Jonny Lipsham Studios. What that does is that makes my name turn red in the chat. And when you do that, I can separate that out from all the other basic conversation that's going on in the chat. Because it's easier for me to see because it's red. Can't miss it. Although I might occasionally miss it. But yes, I pretty much cannot miss it if it's red. So like I said, I'll take any Studio One questions from version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But we will not be discussing Studio One 7 other than what has already been unveiled. So what has already been unveiled is the changes to pricing a little bit. And changes to the release cadence a wee bit. Happy to discuss that. But, and you're all going to have your own personal opinions on the new release cadence. The fact that instead of it being roughly 2 years, it's going to be 1, but with a lot more crammed into that 1 year. So, that's kind of a big change. And of course, it's now, Studio One is now known as Studio One Pro. That's another big change, is that we've just added 3 letters to the name of Studio One. So it's now Studio One Pro. And of course, therefore, that means that Studio One Plus now becomes Studio One Pro Plus, which of course sounds a little bit like caffeine tablets. But that's okay. I don't think they had thought of that in marketing when they were coming up with that. But yes, and I, by the way, I have mentioned that. I have said, hey, Pro Plus, the caffeine tablets, Studio One Pro Plus, and they went, oh yeah, I see. And that was about as far as the reactions went, but that's okay. So that is the branding that is here to stay, and of course, Studio One Pro Plus has a slight little bit of a change as well. You will remember that we have hybrid or monthly. So I'm talking about the membership now. We have hybrid and monthly, although hybrid has been rebranded back to what it used to be, which is annual. All right. So it's now, because there's no point calling it hybrid now. So, because the expectation is at the end of the 12 months of your membership, you will get a perpetual license for free, which is yours to keep. So you get to keep that. And you get to keep that with whatever feature updates it had at that point that your membership comes to an end. And then, of course, if you decide you're going to carry on for another 12 months, great, because at the end of that 12 months, you'll get another one. And so it will keep going. So it doesn't really make sense to call it hybrid anymore because it's just annual. Basically, that's just how it works. And of course, the pricing for the perpetual license has changed a wee bit as well, in that if you are brand spanking new to Studio One and you are purchasing it for the very first time, you are not upgrading, you've decided just to purchase the perpetual license outright and not go down the membership route at all, and so that's what you want to do. Instead of it being about $400, it is now $200 practically, $199. So that's like half off straight away. And of course, the upgrade price remains the same, $149, as it has always been, by the way, all the way going back to version 1. If you wanted to upgrade from version 1 to version 2, it was $149, and it has been that way for a very long time. Yes, they could have upped that price, but they chose not to. With inflation and stuff, I would have expected that to happen, but it didn't. Keith says, he's talking about, shall we discuss version 8? Well, there will be no version 8. Basically, version 7 is the last version of Studio One. Next year, the versioning will no longer be version 7, version 8, version 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on and so forth. It's not going to be that. It's going to be 25 point, and then there'll be a month number. And then the next one will be 25 point another month number, and then 25 point another month number. And then we'll get into 2026, and that'll be 26 point whatever, and so on and so forth. So that's how that's going to work. So Studio One 7 will be the last version using the old versioning of Studio One. Okay, so no more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 is the end of that road, and then we go on to using a time-based thing, which, by the way, other manufacturers are doing as well. So I think Pro Tools have been doing that for about 5 or 6 years. I think they started doing it with Pro Tools 2018. And so I think they have already dropped, if memory serves, earlier this month. I think Pro Tools 24.9 dropped this month. So so that's how they're doing it. We're going to be doing similar. Not the same, not quite the same, but similar. So let's see, what other questions do we have? Lloyd says, does the monthly subscription accrue to a perpetual license after 12 consecutive months? No, it does not. The monthly subscription does not get you the perpetual license. It doesn't. If you want to get the perpetual license, if you're interested in that, then the annual one is going to be the best option for you at $179 USD, which works out to be, actually, if you add up the 12 months at $20, it's a wee bit cheaper. So it's worth thinking about that And then, of course, like I said, you get the perpetual license as well. And then if you decide to stick around and do another year, you'll get the perpetual license at the end of that year as well. But this is like a hop on, hop off kind of experience with the subscription model now, because basically you can be on for a year and then you can decide, you know what? Yeah, not really sure about this next set of features, whether I really am that interested in this next set of features. I'll sit it out. And so you can just stay with whatever you have at that point, and you could sit it out for a year, or you could sit it out for 2 years. Or if you are of the disposition where, hey, I'm used to a 2-year release cycle, and that's what I budget for, you are onto a winner, because you're fine. Because what you can do is you can upgrade to version 7 on October 9th, and then you can do a 12-month, and then at the end of that, if you do the annual membership, you can do the annual membership. At the end of that, you get the perpetual license, and then you can use the perpetual license for a whole year, and then you can decide, okay, I'm into year 2 now. I get to the end of year 2, and then you could just hop back on the train again, and you will get Studio One and all the feature set that has previously been added whilst you've been off the train, and you'll get all of that. So you basically just hop back onto the train with a whole bunch of new features added to Studio One that you've missed out on. So you can do that. So if you budget for, $149 every 2 years, because that's how you have your finances set up and that's what you prefer, because maybe you're a creature of habit and that's what you want to do, you can do that. You don't have to continuously upgrade every 12 months. You don't have to. You can if you want. Nothing to say don't do it, but you can totally just hop off for a year, hop back on for a year, and just basically create for yourself a 2-year cycle, if that's what you want to do. So, yeah, Rich Cresswell is quite correct. If you want to know if your account is eligible for a perpetual license, go to the plan page on your account. Absolutely. Basically the rules are pretty simple. If you are a monthly subscriber, then you're not gonna get the perpetual license. But you can at any point, like, you've done a couple of months, you've done maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 months of month after month after month, and you decide, you know what, I want to hop on the annual train. You can do that. You can totally upgrade, and at the end of that year, you will get that perpetual license. So you can totally do that. Does everyone have to pay tax on monthly base like I was offered when I tried to start Plus again? Depends upon where you are in the world, what your tax on products is. But pretty much, yes, everybody has to, because that's how it works. Most countries have sales tax on products. In the UK, we have VAT, value added tax. Some people also call it vague additions to the total, which is probably more accurate as to what VAT actually is. It's just an addition to the total of like 22%, I think it is here in the UK. But yes, but for the most part, when you purchase, all of that is deducted at source, or rather added at source. So, taxes should just be included in all of those pricing. So there you go. I hope that answers your question, Tony. Yeah. Lloyd says, sounds like a silly question, but nowhere I have found on Persona's website I have seen a yay or nay. For your previous question, yeah, it's definitely on the Persona's website. I can actually show you that. Because I also made a screenshot out of this. But I can certainly show you this. Let me go here. Because it's definitely there. So let's go and do screen. I won't put my camera on just for now because my camera will actually get in the way of this. So, 2 ways into Studio One Pro Plus. Monthly, no hassle subscription access to the latest version of Studio One Pro and all the extras in Studio One Pro Plus. Compare this to the annual one. Get a perpetual license. You don't get a perpetual license with monthly. Annual is license plus extras. Monthly is just access to Studio One Pro and Studio One Pro Plus. That's it. And that's $20 a month. This is $179 a year. And you can cancel this at any time. And with this, no cancellation fee, which pretty much says exactly the same thing. Now, this is the important point to answer Tony's question. All prices shown are reflected in US dollars. Regional pricing will vary. All amounts shown are subject to applicable local taxes. So bear that in mind, and you will discover that when you go through checkout, what that is for wherever you are in the world. Because I know some of you are in the United States, some of you are in Europe, some of you are in Australia, some of you could be anywhere else in the world. And you'll have different applicable local taxes. So in the UK, that's VAT. I think you call it sales tax in the United States, which actually to me makes much more sense than calling it VAT. Value added tax, which is just a dumb thing to call it. So Lloyd, this is where you need to go. Personas.com, Studio One, Studio-One-Pro-Plus. And when you're in this page, if I scroll all the way up to the top, you get this nice little announcement for October 9th. And I think this is very, very pretty indeed. And then there's the announcement video. And there's some information about what you get and all of that. And then this is the 2 ways into it. So this is absolutely on the website. You can totally get this information. So I hope that helps. I'm not saying it's a bad question because it's fine. It's a good question. You may have just not seen it, and that's okay. Chris says, is it possible to purchase Studio One 7 as a gift? How would that work? It is, and it's always been possible actually to purchase a license for Studio One as a gift for somebody. You can totally do that. However, there is a $25 transfer fee. Basically, what you do is you go through a procedure where you purchase that license. It gets applied to your account, but then what you do is you then transfer that license to whomever the recipient of that gift is going to be. And there is a $25 fee that has to be paid for that transfer to take place. So that's what you would need to do, and that's something that's been always possible for any version of Studio One. However, you're probably best to wait until it's actually launched before you go doing that. Rich is helping me out with some of these questions as well, because Rich is super duper smart. Let's see. So Studio One Plus becomes labeled as annual with version 7. No. Studio One Pro Plus is the membership. These are 2 separate things. Now, you do get version 7 with either perpetual, monthly, or annual. So either perpetual license or the memberships. You do get Studio One 7. It's just the method of how you're paying for it. So you're either buying a perpetual license, which is how most people buy programs, certainly in the old days. I mean, certainly a few years ago, this is how you would have always bought Studio One. Certainly before we even started Persona Sphere 4 years ago, that's exactly how you'd have purchased Studio One in the past. Right? You would have just purchased, you'd have paid, if you were buying it outright, you would have paid $400. to just buy a perpetual license. So what we have now is we have perpetual license and then membership. Membership kind of over here, perpetual license over here. Upturned hand for perpetual license, downturned hand for membership. So monthly and annual are over here. The thing that these two both have in common is you both get Studio One 7, right? That's the thing that these two both have in common. This one you're paying either monthly or annually. This one you're paying an outright fee or an upgrade. So you may be upgrading from Studio One version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 to Studio One 7 for $149, or you're just buying it outright for $199, right? So that's perpetual license. And it doesn't come with any of the stuff that you get from the membership. The membership stuff is all extra, okay? So Studio One Plus is the membership, and you can either just keep a rolling monthly thing going where you just pay every month. So you buy a month in October, that expires in November, you buy another month and another month and another month, and you just keep that rolling. There are people that do that. If you're doing that, you don't get the perpetual license unless you decide you're going to upgrade to the annual, which you can do at any time. And when you do that, then you start a 12 months membership. And at the end of those 12 months, you get the perpetual license for free. Okay? Which is what the annual gives you. So annual basically means you pay one price every year. And when you pay that one price, you get 12 months of membership. And at the end of that 12 months, you can continue if you want. But whether you choose to continue or get off the train at that stop, you will get a perpetual license for Studio One 7 at whatever point it's at that point. So whatever feature set, whether it's 25 point whatever, that's what you'll get. So let's go through. And Lowenz is here and he's waving, which is cool. Rich says, if you are on Studio One Pro Plus Annual, formerly Studio One Plus Hybrid, you will get Studio One Pro 7 as soon as it launches on October 9th. Correct. If you choose to cancel and not renew next July, your perpetual license will be for the most current version of Studio One Pro at that time, which will effectively be 7.x. Well, with the new versioning, it will be 25 point whatever. Rich says that license will include everything that is part of Studio One Pro itself, which now includes all virtual instruments and extensions, such as Deep Flight 1, Presence XT Editor, and Audio Batch Converter. Correct. Lloyd then says, based on a lot of what I've seen on Facebook and also on the Blues forum I moderate, that screen doesn't make it clear enough. Really? Okay. It should include in the monthly, this does not include a perpetual license. Well, for me, okay, I'll take that. But for me, the fact that the annual one says contains perpetual license and the monthly one doesn't say that, by deductive reasoning, therefore the monthly doesn't. But that's me. That's what I think. The annual one says contains perpetual license, the monthly one doesn't. So to me, it's kind of self-explanatory. But sure, yeah, maybe it should say, a little disclaimer at the bottom that says monthly does not include a perpetual license. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll pass that on to marketing for their consideration. But yeah, it's a fair point. To be honest, I'm highly critical of how the website is put together, but I spent at least 2 hours tracking down all of the nuances of the difference, but that's a subject for another time. Sure, your criticism is absolutely fine and well received. Jonny says, I'll be honest, there are parts of the explanation some folks are still going to question. People question things all the time. They question everything. And sometimes people question things even though they've understood them. mean, that's just a fact, is that sometimes people are asking questions not because they've not understood it, but because they have understood it, but they would like it to be different. So that's why they question it. So that's definitely true. Let's see. The website assumes a lot more curiosity than most inquisitors possess. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Rich says Studio One Pro perpetual license or Studio One Pro Plus annual equals all of Plus and perpetual license monthly. No perpetual, renew effectively monthly. That's it. That's it in one sentence. Mark says, I think I have a Pro 6 license, so I can buy just Studio One Pro license without updates. You can buy a perpetual license. If you have version 6, you can upgrade to version 7 on October 9th. You can certainly do that. And that'll be, the standard upgrade fee of $149, which is what it's always been. So you can certainly do that. You won't get all of the membership stuff, but if that doesn't interest you and you just want the perpetual license, by all means, that's what you will have. But what we have done with Studio One historically is we have released, let's take version 5 as an example. We've released 5.0. And then sometime later, we released 5.1, which had some new features. And then sometime after that, we released 5.2, which had some more new features. And then we did 5.3, 5.4, 5.5, and all of those had new features that were added to Studio One. And the Studio One life cycle for version 5 was 2 years. From, it was actually a little bit longer than 2 years. It was 2 years and a month or so. Because it was July 7th until September, I think it was, that version 6 launched. October when version 6 launched. So it was a year and 2 months, 2 years and 2 months, right? So instead of going 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, and so on and so forth, instead of doing that over 2 years, we're now shrinking that 2 years into 1 year. And instead of going 7.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're doing 25 point, I'm not sure what month it's going to be, 25 point the next one, 25 point the next one. So there'll be like 3 feature drops throughout the year of 2025 from October on through, right? And then you'll get to 26, and then you'll get to 27, and then you get to 28, and so on and so forth, which is how Pro Tools have done it since 2018. So they've got a 5 or 6 year head start. So if you want to see kind of like a little bit of how this model actually works in practice, go take a look at what Avid are doing. You could also have a look at how Bitwig are doing it, because they're doing a very similar thing, where they don't do versioning anymore, or at least I don't think they are from the current version doing versioning anymore, and they're going to go to this time-based model instead. So instead of it being a version and a point that gets you what we used to call point updates, where you got some features, maybe 30, 40, 50 brand new features added, instead of doing that, we're dropping them on a specific month 3 times in the year. So 3 specific months of the year, you will get features added to Studio One. And that's how it will work going forward. It will be predictable. It will be schedulable. So you will know exactly when the new feature set is being released to Studio One every time. Okay, so there won't be any guesswork about it anymore. You'll know. You'll know exactly what's coming and when. Bobby Wynn says, I was checking out Pro Tools yesterday and their monthly sub does not give you perpetual license. That is correct. It doesn't. But I wasn't talking about that aspect of it. I was talking about the fact that since 2018, it's been called Pro Tools 2018 instead of Pro Tools 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and so forth. They don't call it that. They call it 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. In fact, they're now on 24.9. So that's how Avid are doing it with Pro Tools. And so that's how we are going to be doing it with Studio One. So no longer version 7, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, 7.6. It will be 25, 3 feature drops, 26, 3 feature drops, 27, 3 feature drops, 28, 3 feature drops, and so on and so forth long into the future. So that's how it's going to work. Let's see. Oscar Fung Soul says, oh, I see. So I think I got 6 months subscription to Plus this late spring. So all the Plus add-ons I downloaded will stop working when subscription ends. So I think you got that with, hang on, my chair's got stuck. What's going on here? I think you maybe got that with some hardware that you purchased. So hardware is a little bit different. Currently you get 6 months of Studio One Plus. If you get to the end of that Studio One Plus, then yeah, it kind of does just come to it just comes to an end because it's basically a free subscription. So it's like if a gym or a leisure center were, offering, brand new customers the option, to try it out for a month, to try out their membership for a month. So basically they were saying, hey, you've been here so many times to our leisure center. We're going to award you with a free, to 3 free months of membership of the leisure center. And that means you can use the whole leisure center for free for the 3 months. You don't have to pay for the swimming. You don't have to pay for the weights. You don't have to pay for the hot tub, the sauna and jacuzzi and all of that, which you would ordinarily do. You would pay for each individual item that you're going to use if you're not a member. So when those 3 months of free use of the leisure center come to an end, you then lose that privilege, that perk of being able to use the whole gym for free. You then have to go back to, okay, I'm going to go swimming. You have to pay a fee for the swimming. Okay, I'm going to go use the sauna. You have to pay a fee for the sauna, and so on and so forth. Or you can say, hey, this has been really good. I've really enjoyed the membership. I've really enjoyed all the extras that come with it. I want to carry on this. And then you can choose to purchase either a monthly membership or an annual membership. And away you go. And you get Studio One 7 and you continue with all the extras you get with the subscription. So the choice is kind of yours. You can either go, hey, these 6 months have been fantastic. Really enjoyed it. I would like to continue. So you then just you then just purchase one of the memberships, either annual or monthly, and you carry on. Or you just go, you know what? I think I've learned that maybe I don't really need all of the add-ons and things and that come with Studio One Pro Plus, and I certainly don't need Notion because I'm not doing notation. I'm not writing for a big band, an orchestra, a choir, or anything like that. So I'm not going to use Notion, and I'm not going to use any of the add-ons really going forward. In which case, you then maybe just purchase, a perpetual license of version 7 when that comes out, and that does not come with those extensions, add-ons, and it certainly does not come with Notion. So there you go. Stephen Wilson is asking, what is the benefit of having a perpetual license over the monthly membership? Well, membership and perpetual license are 2 totally different things. The membership, whether it's monthly or annual, grant you a whole bunch of extra stuff, which is why it's called Studio One Plus. It's Studio One Plus, all of these extensions and add-ons and sound libraries, sound sets, collaborative tools, all of that stuff. And, the access to the Studio One Plus community. You get all of that. But if you have a perpetual license, you don't get any of that. You just have Studio One, and that's it. Okay, you just have Studio One and its feature updates when they come, like you always have had. before we even started PersonaSphere. Before we started PersonaSphere in 2020, and there was no membership, there was only one way that you had Studio One, and that is the DAW plus the feature updates that were added periodically over a 2-year life cycle. So that's perpetual license. Membership is perpetual, is if you go for the annual, it's perpetual license plus all of the other stuff that I've talked about. Or if you're monthly, you don't get the perpetual license, but you get to use Studio One and all of the other stuff as well. So that's kind of it. So if you're not into all the extra stuff, and you certainly aren't into Notion and the Notion expansion sounds, and being able to transmit a score between different devices, or between Notion 6 and Notion Mobile, or between Notion and Studio One, Studio One and Notion, Studio One and Notion Mobile, if that's not your bag, if that's not your thing, and the Studio One community doesn't really inspire you with kind of anything at all, then you don't need it. Have a perpetual license and make some music. That would be my view. That was kind of a long answer, but I think it was an important answer. We got 31 people here, but we've only got 20 likes. So we're 10 likes short, folks. So if you like what I'm talking about and you're liking the answers that I'm giving, which I hope that they are helpful. I really do hope that I'm helping to clarify how all of the pricing and things works. Then please do drop a like. Hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. It helps me out quite a bit, because the more likes I get, the more my channel is and my videos are going to get recommended by YouTube. They'll be easier to find, especially by people that are not subscribed right now. And so that will help me a lot. And that means that when I drop my Studio One 7 video series, it's going to get to a lot more people, because YouTube will promote it a lot more when there are a lot more likes and a lot more subscriptions. So if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe, especially if you want to ask a question here, because this is in subscriber mode only. So you got to be a subscriber to be able to ask questions here. Rinaldo, I like that name, Rinaldo. He's here. He's from Holland. Good grief. You are up very late, my friend, because it's nearly 2 o'clock in the morning, you crazy European, you. No, it's fine. I love it when we have Europeans here. Totally, because I'm Scottish, and I've toured Europe a lot over the years, and I love Europe. We got Rhythm House here in St. Lucia. Good grief. See, I told you, folks, this is a totally global audience. I love it. Yeah, that's Old School Funk Soul. Mark, that's not kind of how it works. I think you've kind of misunderstood how it works. So if you buy Studio One Pro perpetual license, and then upgrade to annual 2 months later, £300 plus with both purchases. Yeah, it kind of doesn't really work like that. If you purchase a perpetual license and then you decide you want to become an annual subscriber, then yeah, you're going to have to buy the subscription, having already bought the perpetual license. So it is going to cost you more, because that's kind of how purchasing things works. So basically what you want to do is you want to decide what your use case is. What is it about the subscription that attracts you to the subscription? Go take a look at the website, the web page that I showed you, right? If I go back over here, because this gives you a whole load of information, right? So this is where you need to go. When you go to Studio One, when you go to Persona's website, click on software here, or hover over it, and then go down to Studio One Pro Plus. You click on this guy here. This will take you to this page, and this will give you a subscription overview, and then you can click on this button here, and then this will show you kind of what you get. I mean, this is kind of what you get with Studio One as it is. But in the membership, if I go back a page, you get Studio One plus plugins, loops, and samples, plus integrated notation software, collaboration tools, and a massive library of video learning resources. And by the way, that includes an exclusive mix critique session, which I think is that every month? I think that's monthly. Yeah, it's monthly. Basically, you can submit your mix to be critiqued live by Gregor and Joe. So, and they will give you some very, very helpful feedback. That happens every month, and that's exclusive to members. That happens to members only. Plus, there, like it says here, there's a video learning library for everything that you get with Studio One Pro Plus. And those, again, are exclusive to members because it's separate from kind of like the YouTube stuff that's just available on the YouTube channel. So this is kind of what you get. And then, like I said here, there's two different ways in. So you get these extras here, CTC1, High Density Pack, the Retro Mix Legends, Deep Flight 1, Audio Batch Converter, and then a whole slew of loops and sample libraries. And then, like I said, Notion, and the Persona Symphonic Orchestra, which, by the way, is pretty good. It's pretty darn decent. It's a decent sounding orchestra to get you started if you want to do some composing for orchestra, or you want to include some orchestral sounds in your songs. And then there's presets created by Presonus artists, including people like Emily Wolf and Tony Franklin and Luke Mornay and a whole bunch of others, including Neil Zaza, terrific guitar player. Plus, you get the community as well. And like I said, you get Joe and Gregor's live stream. So those are kind of all the things that are there and available to you if you want them. But yes, it will cost you extra. So if you buy a perpetual license and then a little time later you decide that you want to be an annual member, yes, you will have to pay to purchase that. Bobby Booth is talking about Luna. Yes, I've heard things about Luna. Luna's okay, I'll share that link. That's fine. I can do that. I can do that. But it's basically just go to personas.com and you'll find your way there. Tony says, I guess the sound of Studio One is the best all over the world, not only in Sweden. I've tried a few and Studio One is the best. There you go. Yes, I completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. Gardner99 says 179 yearly versus 19.99 per month equals 239.88. Think about it. Yes, I certainly think there is definitely food for thought there. And Bobby Booth says he likes that Studio One logo. Yeah, I like that too. I really, really like it. And I think you're talking about this here. Yeah, I really like this graphic. This is very, very nice. I would love to know who actually made that, because I would definitely have that as my screensaver for sure, because that is so cool. Love it. All right, we've got like 4 minutes left of the show, folks. Jared Carney is here. Says, I'm seeing a lot of pro studios using Studio One as their main door now. Yes, I have been seeing an increasing number of professional major label studios that have actually started using Studio One either as their main DAW or they run it alongside, something else like Pro Tools. Pro Tools still kind of dominates, but it's less dominant than it used to be. That's definitely true. And, there are so many other options now with, Reaper and Logic and Cubase and Nuendo. And there are so many others. And of course, Luna is kind of like the new kid on the block now from Universal Audio. So, there's absolutely a litany of other DAWs, and some of them are actually pulling, ideas from other DAWs. And to be honest, I don't mind that. To me, I don't see the point in trying to reinvent the wheel. A compressor is a compressor is a compressor. Sidechaining is, how you do it's kind of fairly universal. Although that said, different DAWs have that particular thing more clunky than others. I think the way we do it in Studio One, and we've certainly improved it and made it very, very easy now compared to how it used to be. It used to be a little bit clunky, but now it's actually really easy. But if you compare that to something like Cubase or Pro Tools and their methodology for sidechaining, it's so convoluted. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8 steps in order to make it work. Yes, you can do some of that with key commands if you know the key commands. But otherwise, yes, it's a bit clunky. Whereas with Studio One, it's only a couple of clicks. It's pretty easy. It takes like maybe 2.5 seconds to set up. And it's dead easy. But there we go. We are almost done. We got 2 more minutes. So if you do have a last minute question, I will take it. But otherwise, Billy Morgan has posted the after show Zoom. So if you want to join that and continue the conversation, you are very welcome to do so. Thank you, everybody, for the great questions. What it shows to me is that the thing with that keynote announcement video, it's very short and it does cram a lot of information into a very, very short period of time. And I think what most people have done, and this is no criticism of everybody, but I think what most people have done is that they've maybe watched that video just the once and come away kind of not really sure what it's about and not really sure what the options are, or kind of initially being a little bit maybe pissed off because they've maybe misunderstood some of the new changes. So my recommendation, watch that video several times. Don't be ashamed to have to watch something more than once in order to really take in all the information. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I actually recommend the videos, the live shows that I do, like tonight and on Wednesday, particularly on Wednesday, where we're diving into music theory stuff. Watch the replays. Watch them as many times as you need to in order to really connect with concepts that I talk about. And I would say do that with that keynote announcement as well. Watch it several times. Pause it at different points to allow yourself the chance to really digest what you are being shown and what you are being, what's being explained to you by John Hillman, who, by the way, John Hillman is a fantastic bloke. He's a great, great guy. He is the product director for Studio One and Studio One Pro Plus. So he's overseeing the whole Studio One Pro thing. It's basically his product. It's his baby. And of course, Joe and Gregor are product specialists for Studio One. So between the three of them, I think they did a good job, and I'm not necessarily being critical, but it was a lot of information crammed into a very short space of time. So watch it several times and really, pause it where you need to digest certain things and make sure you've understood it correctly. And watch the whole thing 2 or 3 times. I did that myself. I work for the company and I still watched that video a few times through just to make sure that I totally was getting everything and totally understanding everything. And there's no shame in doing that. So please do that. And Make sure you go on the website as well and read all the information there. One final thing to say is, if all of this is still, after watching the video, still a little bit confusing, still a little bit bewildering, I am working with John directly myself to draw up a document that basically goes through everything in text form, so that you will see what all the options are, how much everything is, and what, you know, the feature drops are, when they're going to happen. Not what the contents of the feature drops are, but basically the idea, the concept of it, and when they're going to happen, so that you understand what you're going to be buying into. Because I think that's really, really important. So I'm going to be working with John to draft that, and that will be unveiled on or around about the launch. Okay? So Jared says the ease of use and quickness is what keeps the artist in the moment. Absolutely. And then Stephen says, thank you. I understand the difference. You're welcome, Stephen. I'm very glad. All right. So Billy Morgan's after show Zoom is there. If you'd like to join us and continue talking Studio One and just basically chill and hang out, come and join us. I'll be there for a wee while, because I still have a cup of tea to drink here, which has gone a wee bit cold because you guys have been asking fantastic questions. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We peaked at 31. We got 30 likes. Thank you ever so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. If you've still got questions that didn't get addressed tonight that you would still like addressed, but you can't come to the Zoom, that's fine. If you go to see the web address there at the bottom of the screen, jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk. If you go to the website, at the menu bar at the top, click on Contact Us, fill out the contact form, and send me an email with your question. And I will write you back, and I will help you. Okay? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make you guys much more comfortable. And, you know, the important thing is, I want to help you make music in Studio One in 2024 and 2025 and beyond. So whatever I can do to help you with that and facilitate that, I'll do. So on that point, we've reached the end. I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified. Same place, same channel, same time, 6 p.m. Good night, everyone.